I think you should give your children sex education as early as possible.
As early as
Because
possible.
if you don't give it to them, either way they will learn it.
They will learn it.
Yeah.
Like, gradual by gradual, you can tell them, okay, this is this about this. Like I got said about a man should touch you, a child runs to school or anything like that. Yeah, tell your children that, okay, this is vagina, this is penis. Tell them, let them know. Don't tell them that this is kokoro.
Yeah.
This is stop giving them information about this thing. Tell them. Don't let this is your privacy. This is your privacy. Don't let
That's called private part.
touch it. I'm Okoyemi. I'm a photographer.
Good evening, I'm Koinsola. I'm a model.
Wagwan, I'm Yinka. I'm an artist and the CEO of Art Smith, basically.
Hello, I'm Femi and I'm a model.
Okay, I'm Richard. I'm a real estate consultant for Ibadan Rich Lux Properties.
Nice to meet you guys.
Same, yeah.
Do you remember your first introduction to sex? Richard.
Okay, my first introduction to the word sex, I think that should be secondary school, obviously. We all did biology, sexual reproductive system. Yes, so that was basically it. I can't say primary school because no, it is never about the dad, but it's about to what extent I can remember to. I can say secondary school. Yes, secondary school.
My first introduction will be in secondary school. Me and a teacher were doing basic science, and she was explaining one topic to me. Me and my friends started talking about it.
Yinka,
Yeah.
did your parents ever give you sex talk?
Nah, man. Not at all. My parents never gave me the sex talk. We don't even have cause to talk about stuff like that. We don't have that much of a close relationship to that point.
Would you have liked to be dating?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. I would.
No.
They never did.
Yes.
Would you have liked to be dating?
Yes. No reason, like just to understand about it or just to have a idea about it. Like it will be more interesting. It's not something that I will not be hearing outside, seeing outside, like something like that.
Technically,
Okay,
technically, every single one of us had sex talks with our parents, one way or the other. Like there's always the Mama, you doing shit.
Yeah.
I know all that shit. So,
Yeah, I was going to say that because there is really no parent that will not tell you, don't go and do something outside and bring something home. Know what you are doing. But when you talk about sex talk, I'm just thinking about it like my parents coming to meet me now and saying that Richard,
sitting me down,
if you want to do this, you will do it like you bring your kidney outside, you not choke it inside, you not be doing, but the kind of sex talks you obviously hear from them is to be basically on education thing, and with the our generation, it is not in the Western world where they will encourage their kids to use condom. That okay, even if you do it, ensure you use condom. No, your parents will not tell you to have sex. In Nigeria, nobody will tell you. They will tell you don't do it. So those are the kind of sex talks we get to hear, and I think that's the way it is generally. Whether your parent tells you,
Generally.
no, I said generally, yeah.
Most African parents will not
At all.
at all. They won't have that discussion. with
So
their
sex education is not even our thing at first.
Nah, like,
It's not even our thing.
So at what age do you think it's ideal to give your child the sex talk?
The question is, what sex talk? What will I be telling my child? Will I tell the child that use condom when you're having sex?
No,
No.
That's why I'm
No, like that's the point.
What do you think sex talk means? Like,
Yeah.
Yes, to me, sex talk is just basically the parent having this mindset that this child is growing, it might eventually happen. Okay, these are the things to do so that when it happens, you don't probably contact something else, or you don't get pregnant, because they know. But that's why I said it's not our thing here in Nigeria. It is not. Parents don't want to know. They don't want to hear.
You are talking about your parents now, but the question is you when you give birth, at what age do you think it's appropriate to sit your kid and discuss? Yeah.
I'll need to think about it.
Personally, I feel like the right age to talk to your kid about sex will be very dependent on your kid. I mean, technically, we all develop at different stages. I was very oblivious to sex till university. I was not even interested in the idea. But like, I met and I know that I had friends that were, keen on stuff like that from way back in primary school. So it's very dependent on the child, the person you're raising, not, the general standard for society. That's
so you have a specific age in mind?
Not a specific age. That's why I said it's dependent on the child. If, for instance, I could say 10, I could say 13. I could work with the normal legal, 18 years, that's when you're an adult. But like, it's very dependent on my child. Your child could, be badass from scratch, and it could take a really long time. I don't want to impose that on anybody.
For me, I think I have something else about that. There's nothing wrong if you start educating your child on sex right from maybe age 4 when he or she can.
Yeah, sure.
Because look at the sexual abuses we hear here and there now. It's due to the fact that they don't know what to do when it happens. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. Come, my child, if somebody touch your kidney, come and tell me. That's also education. Yeah. So it is not when they are 10, 11, and
I would say something. Okay. As much as I agree with that, it's quite reasonable. I think out of sight is out of mind too for children. We're very inquisitive creatures. If you start off a child by 4 years old and you tell them about sex, there's a high chance they want to.
There are levels to it. I know of children that they are trained that if a man touch your bum bum, they will run out and tell their mommy. That's also sex education. Yeah. It is not like you are telling them that okay, sex is penis, okay, the sense of penis and no. It is not that. But it is just the education, the introductory part of it. Right. Because that's where it starts from.
Yeah, I feel both of them are right. For me, I'll probably pick a specific age, like when they're teenager, age 13. Especially mostly for ladies and for guys too, because they need to know the act and the precautions that comes with it. And they have to decide for themselves, are they ready to take that kind of chance in their life? I'll tell them the good side and the bad side of it. And as a daughter to me, she has to be very close to me to explain things to me. As a mother, I need to know about it.
Sorry, it's a good one, but I would say that 13, this our generation, things keep getting deeper. Years ago, 10 years ago, even if you are 15, you don't know anything. Yes. But now, look at
hold on, don't you think that was as a result of like the level of stuff you were exposed to?
That's what I'm saying. So things keep getting. So if you are saying 13, that 13, when in the next 3 years might be.
I think you should give your children sex education as early as possible. Because if you don't give it to them, either way they will learn it.
Yeah.
Like, gradual you can tell them, okay, this is this about this. Like I said about a man should touch you, the child wants to feel our friends like that. Yeah, tell your children that okay, this is vagina, this is this. Tell them, let them know. Don't tell them that this is kokoro.
Yeah.
This is tell them, don't let this is your privacy.
Mm-hmm.
This is your
privacy. That's why it's called private part.
Touch it.
Okay, sorry.
So it's not okay.
What happens when you have a retarded child and a really, really inquisitive child? Does the same rules apply to them?
I would say yes. Because what makes that child inquisitive, if you don't do it, that child will go and learn outside, and it could be worse. And it could be worse.
Hear me out.
That falls on like you as a parent, what kind of child.
So children could be funny.
Hear me out. I agree with you. Like basically all the things you're saying, I'm agreeing with you and all that. But I feel like, for instance, I told you I was oblivious in secondary school. I was not paying attention to those things until somebody now comes up to me and says sex. Then I'm like, oh, there's something like sex. There's something like masturbation. Personally, I don't think anybody here knows what masturbation is from scratch. It's until you hear the word that you realize that it's something you can actually do with your body. So like deciding to tell your child at a young age would make them inquisitive enough to go find out about that thing. Masturbation is not something you feel like you need to tell your child, but it will come up in sex if you're starting to talk to them about stuff like that. So I feel like you should be very focused on the person you're dealing with when you're having sex education with them.
Sex education, you can't just bring the whole deal to the table and tell your child.
As I said, it's level
like give them education is
bit by bit.
From kindergarten, baby class, or crèche, kindergarten, like that. So you don't just learn. You don't learn everything in the whole day. You can't learn the whole syllabus in just one semester. That's why we have 2 semesters.
Thank you. Thank you. So, pro-life or pro-choice?
Pro-choice.
Pro-choice.
I think it's pro-choice for everybody. Logically.
Pro-choice.
Once you have what you're cooking,
I mean,
It's a choice. So
why you have this depressed? I beg, just get this thing out.
it's a choice. Like life generally is a choice. So if you choose to.
But you.
Me. I don't want to think about it. It's difficult. That's why we are being careful.
So you're probably going with life. You're going with life.
So like everyone is going with pro-life.
No, I'm going with pro-choice. Pro-choice is,
Why?
well, first of all, I would say this and it might seem weird, but I think the concept of bringing a child into this world is strictly selfish. It's for personal gain. You as an individual want to bring somebody to this world. They did not agree to it. I feel like if that's the case, I've already decided I'm going to be a selfish person. Might as well be selfish enough to just, not bring the person into the world too. Why put them through that pain and all that suffering?
Alright, do you all agree with me?
Yeah. And I have addition.
Alright.
If you don't have the capacity to nurture a child,
Yeah, there's no point of bringing a child to come and suffer in this life.
Sorry.
This
This particular topic is always trippy to me because I've seen it happen a lot of times where, what do you mean by if you don't have the capability to bring a child to the world? Because I've seen people with way less raise 10 kids. I've seen people with way more raise kids, like just 1 kid and they will fuck it up. So like, it's not really money. I mean, yeah, so what do you mean by actually being capable of taking care of a child?
Just not making a child suffer. Just not making a child suffer. You be able to give a child
also, not only money, you might not have the
mature mind to raise
the mature mind, to raise a child. Because you can give birth to the child and you
can't
don't care
expect
about
someone
the
to
child.
be 17 and give birth to a child and expect us to be able to take care of the child.
How do we
a child
conclude
nurturing a child?
who is taking care of a child responsibly?
How
How do you conclude who is doing it right? I mean, the whole concept of raising children is not something that is straight or has manual. We're all just doing zigzag, winging it in the real sense of it. So how do you know that you are taking care of your child the correct way?
You know.
I mean,
You know. Like,
I need to check grass.
Thank you.
Thank you.